Okay, so you are having doubts in these topics, these two questions that are how to do the power square root or square of anything, or the means to the power of anything, right? This is the first question in Python, and the second is complex number length. The length of the complex number is actually the absolute value of that particular complex number. So I will be just telling you. Let me share my screen to this window, and over here only I will just explain these two questions right over here. Actually, taking a square I haven't told you because we will be learning this when we will going for the operators. But beforehand, if you ask this question, I will just let you know this question. So, for example, there is x, and you want to have the power of 2 to the power 4. Okay, so we'll write x equals to 2, and for 2 the power in C++ we can use this sign, but over here we'll use double asterisk. Double asterisk is used for 2 the power and 4. So, and if I want to print this, print x, then let us see what is the output of this. So we'll just execute it, python dot slash webinar 3.0 session 1 day 2. Okay, so you can see we are getting the 4 to 2 to the power 4 output. So this is how we do provide square. Now coming to the length is using the absolute function. So for length, what you need to do, for example, we have a complex number x equals to 2 plus 3j. Okay, this is the complex number, and now I need to find out the length. So for finding the length, I'll just print absolute of x. That's it, absolute of x, and this will give you the length. Okay, I believe it didn't save. Yeah, now we got the length of this. Okay, this is the length of the complex number. So this is how we just uh, get the length. So I hope this is clear to you. Just let me know. Okay, so we'll move forward. Now, coming to this, we have completed Python identifiers and coming to sequences. Now, when we come to sequence, that then it is actually the sequence of data or the main source to handle the data. That is what sequence are. Now, there are four types of sequence that we're going to study right now. One, you need to research on it. That is the sets. Okay. So actually, there are five type of sequences: string, list, dictionary, tuple, and sets. Sets are used where we don't require any duplicacy. Okay, we don't require any duplicacy. There we require sets. It will remove all the duplicates value and store only one kind, means one value only once. That is a sets. Okay. Now, I will tell you the utilization of each and everything. String is utilized for the all the sort of strings that we use, like a name, your sentences, words, characters. Everything is considered, and we can use it. We can refurnish it. We can take the data in any method and keep it as our point of view, means whatever we require as per the requirement of the programmer. Means, so for example, it could be that a person is writing all the data in lowercase, another person may be writing in any cases, jumbled case, other may be writing in uppercase, but we need to store the data only in uppercase. So at that point of time we can use string formattings. Okay, formatting techniques. So string is basically all sort of characters, strings that we handle day by day. That is the string sequence handling. Now list. It is, you can say, a substitute, means enhanced version of array. It is not actually array, but an enhanced version of array. You can tell it like this. Now over here, what happens in list? In list, we can have any sort of data. Means it doesn't matter if you're storing a complex. It doesn't matter if you're storing a number. It doesn't matter you are storing a character in the same list. For example, if created a list with a variable L, so it's not defined that L is a number list or a character list or a string list or a complex list. It is not defined in such a way. You can store any kind of variation of data into the list. Okay. Now, comparing the list with array, array stores a unique type of data. For example, it is a number list, a number array, then it will store only the numbers that we call as integer array. Now, if it is a character array, it will store only characters. Okay, so this is the way. This is the major difference between list and arrays. And list makes things very easier. Means you can't imagine even the set of things you can do with list that we were bounded to do with the arrays. So this is a very good move by the Python library. We can use it very easily. The list. Now, dictionary is somewhat, you can say, uh, a set of data for having a key value pair. Means what is a key value pair actually? Means there is a key. For example, your roll number, your registration numbers in a college or school, whatever you are in. So the registration number is the key, but when someone enters the registration number, your entire biodata comes into play, and the entire biodata is the values. So the keys are unique. There will not be any other person with the same registration number, but there may be many persons with the same name, or many persons with the same date of birth, or many persons with the same sort of things. Okay, but the only unique identification number is just your registration number, and that becomes the key. So over here in the dictionary, all the keys will be unique, but the values may be same, may be different on a particular key. Are you getting my point? So this is what the dictionary is all about. Basically, the dictionary is used for student management system, library management system, and all are those management system where we require one unique key and many other values may be there inside that particular key. So all sort of things are required in the dictionary. Now coming to tuple. Tuple is something you can say security. It induces security into the data. Now, once a tuple is created, it cannot be destroyed, means it cannot be changed or altered. For example, if you have some number in the first position, then once a tuple is created into that number, then you cannot change that position. Means that number can be changed. Means, for example, you have 2 in the first position, you can't make it 3 after tuple is created. It is fixed that it will be 2 forever, until and unless only one thing you can do in a tuple, and that is destroy the tuple. You can destroy the existence of the tuple. That's it. You can neither modify it nor alter it, and nor make any sort of changes that you can do with list, with dictionary, or with string. And this gives an extra security to the data to tuple. Okay, so this is what. But yes, it is. You might be thinking that if we cannot alter it, modify it, then why? What is the requirement of tuple? Now let me tell you the requirement of tuple. For example, you have a very confidential data. Okay, now you don't want to share that data to anyone or make other alter that data, but you have to give the access to your employees, to your colleagues, give access to that data. Now you might be thinking that if I give access to the original data, they might alter changes. How can I trust them? On that particular point, we can do one thing. We can create a tuple of the entire data and we send it. Now, what will be the change over here? They can use each and every word, each and every bit of the data. They can use it. They can call the data from the tuple. They can use it anywhere. They can create a list out of it. They can use it any sort of way. But they cannot alter or make changes to the original sort of data. Are you getting my point? So this is what tuple gives the security. And sets, I already told, it's a means it doesn't have any two values of the same kind. Means one cannot be repeated twice. So this is what the sets are. Now sets will be an task for you actually. that you need to complete that sex task. So we will come to the string. So today's target is to complete the string and learn string slowly and precisely and completely, because string plays a lot of major factors when we do programming. On any programming, either you do file handling or you do sort of generation kind of programming, any generating things, or anything, any sort of thing, naming, making a file name, making getting a file name. For any sort of things, you will require string. Okay, so we'll start with the string, and there are certain things that are there in the string, important points you can say. Now, I haven't told you the difference between double quotes and single quotes, and today in this session I will tell you the difference between single quote and double quote in Python. Beforehand, I will just read one by one sentences, I will clear it out. Python has a built-in, there is a spacing mistake, built-in string class named str. I told you, I mentioned that if we write anything, okay, let us prove this. So I will just, for this, I will just create a day3 over here. Okay, I created a day3 and it went somewhere over here. So I will just move it down. Okay, so here we got day3.py, and inside that we'll just take a string. We'll, st we'll start up with sequence, and the first sequence that we're gonna do is string. So over here, I will take a variable, for example, a, and I will just write down the string values, I will be writing in double quotes. Mm, hello people. So I have written this, hello people, and I will just execute this code. So let us save. Okay, it got saved, and now we'll execute it. Now we'll go with Python, and I will just change this name to 3, and I will execute it. Okay. Did we make any mistake for execution? Okay, we haven't printed. So we'll just print it, print A, and we'll also print the type of this. I will just put a comma and print the type of it, type of A. Now this is done, and I will just execute this code now, and it will give you hello people, and the type is class str. So over here strings. Now you think you might be, if you know C++, Java background, then you must have heard the word character. Now characters on those platforms, it is defined with a single quote, and strings are defined in double quotes. So I will define a character in a single quote C. This is a character. Now I will just utilize this character and just see the type over here. So when I execute this, C, and the class is str, that is a string. So let me tell you, over here single quote and double quotes meant the same. There is no word defining character over here. Over here we only have strings, and there is only one thing that to handle is the string handling. That's it. Okay, so now the second point. String literals can be enclosed by either double or single quotes, which I already told. Although single quotes are most commonly used. It's upon you, whatever you use. There is no obligations to use directly to the single quotes or double quotes. It's upon you. A double quoted string, the third point, a double quoted string literal can contain single quotes without any fulls. Okay, and likewise single quoted string can contain double quotes. Now what this line actually means, I will just explain you this. Let me come to over here. Yeah, so I will just comment this. Now I will be just directly printing a statement, like I will be printing in double quotes, hi, how are you doing. I'm just writing this. Okay. Now when I execute this statement, this program, then I'm getting actually this exactly the same. Okay. Now I will be doing this something like this. You didn't came to the party last night. Okay. I wrote something like this. You didn't came to the party last night. So now if I execute this, it gives you exactly the same statement. Okay. It gives you exactly the same thing. Now I will just reverse it and try to do with the single quotes. I will start a single quote and end a single quote over here. Now I will find there is a lot of major differences that are coming over here. You can see when there was a double quotes on the outer side, then all the statements were correct. But now there is an unexpected token T error. Now why this is happening? Because when we are using single quote, now inside this string there is another single quote. Now what happens? This single quote and ends. It seems like it starts over here and ends over here. Getting so to make things that whatever written in the string does not get hampered. So on that particular case we have two types of quotation, that a single quote and double quote. If a single quote is there inside a string present, then on the outer ending part we'll use double quotes. So this won't hamper the string at all. I hope you understood my point. So this is what I meant to say, that there are single and double quotes the same, but it has a very effective operation on both the things. Now you can write single quotes outside and double quotes inside. That is also possible. No issue. For example, this is a quotation mark. For example, this is a quote, and for this quote, you need to have this double quotes also. You need to print this double quotes. On that particular occasion, I will just put a single quote on the two outer sides, for one over here and one over here. Okay, there is a mistake. This is taking this as the quotation mark over here. So we need to make a little more changes. Okay, I need to see to it how to figure it out. Okay, we need to be thinking how to figure it out. We can do one thing for this. We can use string concatenation. Now what is string concatenation? I will tell you. We will use plus sign to concatenate both the strings, and I will use a double quote single quote over here, and I will use a single quote over here. Similarly, I will use a double quote over here. Unexpected T. Did we make any mistake? Yeah, we make a mistake over here. And now you will find that this is done. And we will require a quotation starts over here, and this is done. Okay. So let us see what is the output. You can see we have got this quotation over here. Right over here, we have got this quotation. And we don't want this quotation right over here. Rather, we would like to have that quotation right over here. So for that also, again, we need to have our double quotations. So again, we need to concatenate the string. Again, we need to concatenate the string and we need to write it out. So this is how every time you need to do this. For example, we'll concatenate it over here and start it with a single quote and end it with a single quote right over here. So now we'll get the double quotes in both the things. So you can see, if you want to keep a single quote and double quote both in a sentence, you need to think how to do this. It is not impossible. I will tell you how to concatenate the strings like this. I will just explain you everything, every bit of it. But it is means you need to make up the logics that how to separate, how to make a pair of both the things, a single quote as well as a double quote. How to pair up the things. So this is how we can do everything with a pairing up. Now, if we move forward to next points, a string literal can span multiple lines, but there must be a backslash at the end of each line to escape the new line. Okay. Uh, okay. Escape a new line. String literals inside triple quotes or triple double quotes or triple single quotes can span multiple lines to text. Now, what this actually means to have this, for example, I told you the new line printing, the new line character. Same way, I will just comment this and take a simple statement. Like I have a variable C, and over here I have used double quotes, and inside that I want to write, he is a good guy, full stop. And in the next line, I want to write, but he is stupid. But he is stupid. Now you can see we are getting an error. But if the same thing is written right over here, then it is not an error. Are you getting my point? So this is what double quotes allow you to write the strings in a single line. You cannot use multiple lines. But when there is a triple quotes, then it's triple double quotes or triple single quote, anything. Now there is no error. We can easily write it and print it. If I print C out of it, then you will find that we are getting a data and then multiple lines. We are not getting any error. So this is what triple quotes are. If you want to write triple single quotes, it's upon you. There is no issue with it. Now the last thing, Python strings are immutable, which means they cannot be changed after they are created. Yeah, you can use /n. There is no issue with using /n. Now, for example, what I meant to say, for example, if you want to use /n, you can use /n with a single print statement. But if you want to create a line, means for example, if you want to copy paste, now I will just move to this and use any website. This is my favorite website to use dummy text. I will just use this text and I want to copy this. Okay, copy this into my code. So I will just copy. Okay, I will just copy this part, Control C, and I will just paste it over here. I want to just paste this to the print directly. Within double quotes, I will just paste this to the string. Okay. Now when I took it, how I took it, you can see I took it in a multiple lines. Okay, but I'm pasting it in a single line, right? So if I want to do this, then again I need to just put /n every time when I want it, and that too I need to concatenate it. I cannot put /n and then again I need to put a /n right whenever I want it. Then only we'll get the output in the next line. Like I have put a /n over here, so I'm getting the output in this next line. Okay, now on that case, if I put a triple quote and paste the entire thing, it will be getting in separate lines, and this becomes easier for us. Yeah, we in C, C++ or Java, there is no other manner or way of taking a new line character other than this /n. In C, we have another thing like endl. Okay, but over here in Python, we can use triple quotes, which gives us a much easier way of representation in a paragraph. Now, coming to another point, what is the benefit of using triple quotes or other than the /n? When you will be doing, I will give you a task of sending emails through your local server. Now, when you will be sending emails, you need to write in a formatted manner. For example, you need to write something like this, like uh, dear student, and then a comma, and then again you need to write something, then again you need to write something, then again you need to write something. So on this condition, what happens when we use slash n, it is not possible to send the slash n to the email, as slash n will be considered as a normal text over there when you are sending it to email. So it will be showing you slash n only. It is not giving you the next line. So on that particular position, what you can do, you can use triple quotes. So triple quotes will send the exact same thing to the email. Are you getting my point? So this becomes easier for us to represent in local programming language also, and to send it to the other languages also. Okay, so I hope you understood this. Now we'll just switch on. Okay, now we'll start with the functions that are used in a string, that are string formatting functions. But now the first function that we will go through is the string capitalize function. Now in string capitalize function, what is the requirement is its work is to capitalize the first character of the string. Okay, it will capitalize the first character of the string. For example, it's Python is awesome. It will capitalize P right over here. It will capitalize P and you will get the output. So you will get Python is awesome. So I will just show you. I'll just comment this all parts. The first function that we're going to learn is the capitalize function. Now we have a string like C. Let me take a global string. Three formats I will take: one in lowercase, one in uppercase, and one in jumbled case. So let me write lower equals to, I will write all the things in lower, like sorry, I have to write in lowercase. Hello people, I hope you are doing well. Okay, so this is what I have written. This is 10. Now everything is in lowercase except this, so I will make this also in lowercase. That's it. Okay, and let me make another sentence. Let me make another sentence. I will tell you why I'm making this. You are doing well. Welcome. No capital. Welcome to TechCamp. So everything is small over here, right? Now similarly, I will just put on an uppercase over here. I will just copy the same statement. Okay, and we will have a mixed case. Let it be jumbled case, mix of upper and lower. Okay, so we'll leave it till here. So this is the three vectors. So first of all, we'll use the capitalize. So for capitalize, I will use lowercase right over here, the lower variable. So how to use it? You need to put a variable name. For example, capitalized. Maybe the variable name is capitalized. Okay, And now inside that, I will call the string variable that I'm using lower. This is the lower variable dot the format I want to use, formatting language, like capitalize. So I'm getting a hint over here, capitalize, and it's a function. So I will just put on the parenthesis, and that's it. So now whatever it returns, it is storing in capitalized, and I will print capitalized right over here. Print capitalized. Now let us see what is the output. Undefined variable. Okay, capitalized. Now it is right. So I will just execute this. Now you will see that H was small, but now H is capital. Okay, let me print both the statements, which will be better one. So I will just print and I will be just printing over here lower. So it becomes easier for us to compare both the strings. So now you can see H was small in the lower, but now H is capital, and others there is no change. But again, when there is a full stop, I don't know, it must have been an uppercase. It should have been in the uppercase. Okay, I believe the space is the thing that is not letting it to the uppercase. After full stop, everything should be in uppercase. I believe there is some mistake that we are doing. I will just take it down and I will just research it and tell it to you. Every full stop, after the full stop, it will just make the other character in the uppercase, and this is the thing that the logic says. So there might be anything that is for making us not complete this thing. So this is what it is taking it edge in the uppercase and rest other is small. Okay. Now when we move to the next function, like count. So count function is something, it will count a substring into a entire string. Okay, it will count the substring into the entire string. Like if I'm writing Python is awesome, isn't it? So if we are searching is inside this string, then we will be finding how many times this is coming into point. Now it is not that only one word is considered as. Now this is always over here also, and is over here also. So it will count twice. So output is 2. So let us have like I'll just comment this, and in the next part we're gonna have function count. Count equals to, and now we'll have like in the lower only. So we will use lower dot count, and inside that we're gonna pass on in single quotes, double quotes, whatever you want, the value that we want to count. For example, I want to count how many times I use I. Okay, so I will just write down I over here, and I will just print count. So I will just execute this 2 times. So let us see. This is the first time, and this is the second time. So 2 times we have used I into the statement. Okay, now if you want to have like a V, how many times we have used V? Okay, or well, then also you will, I hope you will get only 2 times. So you are getting 2 times. Okay, so this is how it is. It helps with the counting method, and you can count the number of things present inside a string. Okay, now we will move forward. Ends with. Now what this function ends with does, it tells you that is the string has the end with the same substring or not. Okay, for example, to learn. So the variable dot ends with. So over here, what happens? We were going to search to learn over here. So it is ending with it. It will give you a true. Okay. So see, now in the first statement, it is giving you false. Why? because there is a full stop over here and there is no full stop over here, so it is not ending with it, right? So if you are having a full stop right over here, it is giving then it will show you true. Now it doesn't matter how many characters or how many words you're starting with, it only matters what it ends with. If you're writing n and dot or only dot, then it will show you yes, it is correct. For example, now the next thing is ends with. Now inside this, we're gonna pass on end, and we will use lower. So lower dot ends with, and inside that I'm gonna pass on the last thing. For example, I want to have TechCat, just TechCat, and I will just search it out, and let us see what is the output. I need to print it. Now it will give you in Boolean, either true or false. It will give you in the Boolean language. So this is true. Okay. Then if I just emit this T, okay, now it will give you false. If I execute this, it will give you false. Now if I keep that T and emit all other things, I only keep the T, then also it will give you us a true value, as T is the last and the final product of the string. Okay, so this is what ends with it. Similarly, we have a starts with. I think I need not to explain this because it is a similar thing, like if the string is starting with that substring or not, that is the thing. If you want to write only H, then also it will give you true. If you write hello, then also it will give you true. But if you start from E and LO, then it will not give you a true, it will give you a false. So this is what starts with is all about. Now we will go with index. Now what is index? Index is the value where the particular substring starts. Okay, now for example, I'm writing is fun. In this string, I'm just searching for the index of is fun. Now let us count. Now for the string, the counting starts from 0, so we'll start the 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, it's 19th position, and you can see we are getting the 19th position right over here. So is fun is starting from the 19th position. Getting the first position, it will give you the output. Now if I'm searching for programming, so it will give you 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 position. Are you getting the point? So this is what, and now if you write only F, it will give you the first F of the element wherever it gets the first data. For example, if you have two is at the same location, let me show you this. Index. Now let us take this lower dot index of. Okay, now what may be the, now for example, I have hello only once. Now sorry, welcome, let us take welcome only once. So I will just write over here welcome. Okay, and I will just print the index number, print index. This is a variable that we have taken for index, and we'll execute this. We will get 41. In the 41st character, we have welcome. So let us count. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Space is also character, don't forget. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. So we have got the 41st character. This has been proved. Now, if I'm not writing welcome, I'm only writing well, then it will be giving a different data. So let us execute this. Wait a minute. The program has not been saved. Now it has been saved. It's giving 35. Now, which is 35? This is 35. We are getting well before welcome, and it is giving the index value of this value. So it doesn't matter how many times it repeats. The first time when it gets into play, it will give you the same index. Okay. Now, similarly, we have the same thing for find. Means find is also the same thing. With the find function, we get the same values. Now you must be thinking that if we have the index function, then why actually we use find? Okay. Now let me show this also. I will just prove this that both the values give the same thing. Find. Okay. And inside that I will just pass on the same thing, but I will do it with find. Okay. Find well. Now there may be 235 now. So see, find is also giving you the same value, the same set of value. So there is no difference. Now the difference comes into play when you don't get a value. Okay. For example, there is no Z over here. So I will be just searching Z into both, into this and Z into this. Now I would love to replace the values, or otherwise you won't understand the thing. I will just replace the words, the position. Now I have written Z over here, I have written Z over here, and now I will execute it. So what happens when we are not getting a data into find, it is the first thing. So what happens, it is giving you, returning you -1. But when you are not getting any value with the Z, means there is no index value of Z into that particular string, then it will throw you an error that substring is not found and will stop the programming. Now, where to utilize it? Now, it should be utilized. Actually, it must be utilized in both the conditions. Means like there is a situation where you don't want to proceed further, even if there is means you don't need to proceed further if there is not present, the value is not present in the string. At that particular point, we're going to use index. But if you are going that if you want to proceed the program, like if there is a not the value is not there, you need to input a value from the user and get that value stored into that particular field. So at that particular point, you need to use find, because it will not terminate the data, rather it will provide you -1, and this -1 will be stored in your means you can use those data for the program. So this is what the major difference is in both the things. Now I've written this also. The index method is similar to find method for strings. The only difference is that find method returns -1 if the substring is not found, whereas index throws an exception error, that is substring is not found. This is an exception error that the index throws. Now there is a function known as isLower. Now the use of this function is something like if there is a multi-case, like I have used jumble for this particular only. Fifth. Okay, isLower. Now it will give you the boolean value, either the string that you're passing is lower or is not lower, means either it is true or it is false. So first of all, I will directly use the print statement right away here. You can use the variables things that we are doing, and I will just pass on lower string variable and is lower. This is the function, so I will use it as a parenthesis, and I will just execute this. So I need to first of all comment this lines, and now I will just execute this code. So it's giving me true, but when I'm changing to this to upper, so it will give us a false, because it doesn't have all the elements into it in the lower case. Are you getting my point? So similarly, there is another point like is upper. In the sixth, we're gonna go for is upper, and over here we're gonna write is upper. And now we're gonna execute this. Okay, I need to comment this and I will execute this. So upper is upper, yes, it is true. But when we shift this to lower, then it is not true. Or else if you want to mix jumbled, if you want to pass it to the jumble, then also it is not true. So it gives you false right over here. So this is what is lower, is upper, is there. Now we can convert it to the lower and upper also. So for that, what we have, let us take copy this and paste this. Let me make this 7, and I will be going for the lower first. So this is lower, and instead of is lower, I will just write lower. Now I will use the jumble over here because we have mixed cases, so it will be easier for us to understand. So jumble is something, we have a jumbled case. Some are in uppercase, some are in lowercase. Now it will convert it to everything to the lowercase. We'll just execute this and you will find that the jumble has been changed to the lowercase. Similarly, we have upper. To change it to the uppercase. Upper, and we're going to change it to the upper. Now is upper was to check, but only upper is to convert the entire string. Okay, when we execute this, so it will change everything to the uppercase. Right. So this is what is happening over here. We are changing the lower, we are changing the upper. Now there is another thing like swap case. Now what is a swap case? If it is in lower, it will change to upper. If it is in upper, it will change to lower. Now for that, we will have like a swap case, and we're going to use jumble. So first of all, we'll print jumble so that it's easier for us to compare. And now we'll print jumble dot swap case, and inside that we're gonna pass nothing. It is a function. So we'll just execute this. So now you can see in the jumble, this is the jumble string that we use in the variable, and this is the new string that we created. So you can see the which was in uppercase, it all become in lowercase, and which all was in lowercase, they all become in uppercase. So this is what the swap case function does. Okay, so let us move forward. Is upper, lower we have done. Now upper we have done. Now swap case. This is another thing that we have done. Stripping. Now what is stripping? If you want to strip some values from the starting and the ending point, for example, you have some marks over here, some marks over here, and if you want to strip it. So there are 3 types of stripping: L strip, strip, R strip. Now what is L strip? We will use this strip to strip from the left hand side. We'll use this string to strip from the left hand side. Now what is R strip? We'll use this thing to strip from the right hand side. And what is strip? We're going to use this thing to strip, to remove it from the both sides, from the left also and from the right also. But remember, it won't hamper anything that is in between the string. Okay, for example, let us take 9 number, and this is stripping. Let us take a variable, and inside that we'll pass on some data like AAAA, hello, I am a good boy. Now again I will put on AAAA. Okay, now I want to strip this. So I will just strip this. Like I will just use the print C dot. For example, I'm going to strip from the left hand side. I'll strip, and inside that I'm going to pass what I need to strip. I will pass what I need to strip. Okay, so I will just pass on. I will need to strip A from the left hand side. So we will just execute this, and there is no A on the left hand side. Similarly, I will just copy this, and I want to strip A from the right hand side. So I will just put it to R strip and just execute this. So you can see we don't have any strips on the right hand side, rather we have on the left hand side, because in this statement we have only used right strip. Now if we use strip, if we use only strip, then it will strip it from both the sides. Okay, strip A and it will strip from the both the sides. But all the three cases, you just see to it that it is not hampering the A or A over here, that is inside the entire string. Okay, is my voice not clear to everyone? But there is no network issue from my side, I believe, because everything is crystal clear on my side. Just check your network connection once. Okay, so just see to it that we are just doing for strip over here. So this is what it is stripping from both the sides, from this side also and from this side also. Okay, now if we move forward, there is the replace. If you want to replace it, like there is a good word over here. If you want to replace this good with great, so once you put that string dot replace with, first is the present word and the next is the replacing word. So we'll replace good with great, and now we'll have it like Python is a great programming. So this is what happens over here. Now there is split. Now this is something that I need to explain it in a vast way. This split function is actually converting it to a list, so I won't explain it now. Rather, I will explain it later on when we will going for the splitting. Slicing. Now, slicing is also a very vast thing. I need to explain it briefly. So today I won't explain these two things. So from tomorrow onwards, we will first of all start with slicing, and then we'll move to the list. Once we cover up with the basics of list, we will come back to split and show you what actually split does. Okay. So for today, this we are going to end this session. So just let me know if you have any queries regarding today's session. Whatever queries, you just put on the comment section.